True Crime Society podcast contains adult themes and violence and is not intended for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised. And if you'd like to skip the intro or move to any specific part of the podcast, please refer to the timestamps listed in the episode description. Thank you. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the True Crime Society podcast with Stephanie and Olivia. It is October 19th right now, 2025, of course. And we're here recording. The weather, it's a little warm today, warmer than it has been. We had some nights where it was like in the 30s, so winter is coming. But sucks because then when it gets a little warmer after it's been cold, all the bugs like have a resurgence. So there's been ladybugs all over my house trying to get inside. They get inside somehow, some of them. And even though ladybugs are supposed to just be cute, they're really, I don't want them in my house. So. And they're not even real ladybugs. They're like the fake ladybugs, that invasive Japanese bug. Do you have ladybugs in Australia?
Yeah, we've got ladybugs. I don't know what type we have, but I know we have ladybugs.
There's like ladybugs and there's imposter ladybugs, but they're actually like these invasive Japanese beetles that look just like ladybugs. So I don't really.
I've only ever seen the cute little red and black ladybugs. I don't often see them, but we do have them here.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're annoying. What about you? How's your weather?
Beautiful, sunny. It's going to be 33 today, which is like hot. When it's in the 30s, it's hot. Occasionally, it will get into the 40s, which is like really, 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 really hot. That's like probably over 100. But yeah, 30s is I feel like around 90 something. So beautiful. It's a Monday here, so after we record, I'm going to try and go for a walk down to the beach. But yeah, beautiful day here.
I just looked it up. The fake ones are Asian lady beetles, and they're slightly different. They're a little more orange, and they have less spots.
So this coming weekend, we are doing this walk in Sydney called the Seven Bridges Walk, which is like, it's 28 kilometres or 17 miles. And you go because obviously Sydney is a harbour city, so there's a lot of bridges, a lot of water. So they've done like a map where you go over all these bridges in different villages and things like that. I've done no preparation. I don't know, a few years ago, if you remember, I did that other one. I'm like, it's going to be fine. I'm hoping.
Yeah.
And I almost didn't survive. But so I'm hoping this one will be all right. It's like to raise money for the Cancer Council. So it's a really good cause, but the weather is, thankfully, that's how it made me think about it. The weather is meant to be a lot cooler. If it was 33 like it would be today, it would be such a struggle, but it's only meant to be about 23, which I feel is like late 70s, so that should be quite nice, hopefully.
Nice. Yeah, I remember your other crazy walk that sounded horrible.
I'm still scarred by that.
My chat topic, which I thought people might be interesting, because a lot of people asked me how Peep was with the baby, and I said she really doesn't care, and she still really doesn't care much. She still will just be like ready to walk right over the baby to get to me, or sit on the baby to sit. Like, Peep's more like, why is the baby in my spot? Excuse me. But what has been driving me crazy, and I feel bad because I always have to be like, Peep, go away, get away, is her meow, as you guys know. She loves to chat. She's here in my lap. She's being quiet. She's mad I'm talking about her. But she just needs to announce her entrance, announce that she's here, announce that she's in the room, carry on. And every time when I'm trying to put the baby to sleep, she's like, oh, let me just go right in there and start meowing as loudly as I can. And I'm always like, Peep, please get away. It drives me insane. She just like, I don't mind that she's there. I can deal with her kind of being in the way, but she's always like, meow, meow, meow. Just like, she just has to announce herself and doesn't stop. So that's my gripe with Peep lately. But then I remind myself, I'm like, oh, I feel bad because she gets less attention. Poor little baby Peep. But I'm like, shut up, please.
It's funny because last week we were talking about how some podcasts do like the video, and we can't do the video. And someone wrote,
don't want to.
Like, yeah, I'm paraphrasing, but it was like, hear me out, video, but it's just Peep.
Just a stream of Peep. I could do that probably. I'd have to set up. I am trying to not have a real job and just do stuff like this. So maybe that could be a way. If anyone would like to see live streams of Peep, please let me know. I'm half kidding. Okay, so let's get into the crime subjects. We do have an update, a pretty big update that I feel like isn't getting any attention because people just it's been so long.
Yeah. I also feel like too, it's been a long time since we've actually been able to do an update because we've done so much pre-recording. By the time this comes out, the update's going to be null and void. So this is a very recent thing that's just happened in the last few days, and by the time it comes out, it will still likely be ongoing.
Yeah, so we did an episode about Chance Englebert back in 2020. So it was probably one of the earliest episodes we did because that's around when we started.
Our episode was on Chance and Tyler Davis. So it was two men who
Tyler Davis I always think about still.
Yeah. They didn't go missing together, just to clarify if you haven't listened, but they were two men who went missing in separate states and they kind of walked away from their friends and family and were never seen again. So Tyler is still missing. This is an update on Chance.
So Chance was 25 when he went missing in Gearing, Nebraska in July of 2019, following an argument that he had with his wife and her family. And apparently he just walked off and was kind of never seen again.
And there was a lot of people who kind of side-eye the wife and the family, and they're like, maybe they did something.
They did something.
Yeah, him and his wife had an infant child at the time that he disappeared, and it sounds like there was a big fight. So people are like, well, maybe they're involved.
Yeah. So on October 11th, 2025, which was only last week, his family were contacted after human remains were found at Scotts Bluff National Monument, which is west of Gearing, and it's only about 3 miles from where Chance was last seen on CCTV. The Scottsbluff County attorney issued a statement and confirmed that some of Chance's belongings were also found at the scene, so, pretty promising that it is most likely him at that point. The statement said several items were located that family identified as belonging to Chance Englebert when he went missing on July 6, 2019. The investigation into his disappearance has been active and ongoing since it was originally reported. The Douglas County Coroner's Office in Omaha is assisting to facilitate the forensic examination of dental records, DNA samples, and other scientific examinations of the skeletal remains.
So yeah, basically it hasn't been confirmed that the remains belong to Chance. I have seen apparently some people confirming it on Facebook. It hasn't been, I have very little doubt it probably is him, especially if his belongings were found at the scene. But at the time of recording, it hasn't been totally confirmed by DNA or dental records or anything like that. But I don't feel like it's a very unexpected ending. I've had a look at the monument. It is it's literally like a big rock that juts out of the ground. The area has over 3,000 acres. It's like a national park. So 3,000 acres of mixed grass prairie, rugged badlands. So I feel like probably what happened is he wandered and either jumped, fell, or somehow died from exposure. He had been drinking, if I remember correctly, too. He'd been out that day and had some drinks, if I remember. So maybe he might have been disoriented or something along those lines. It does seem quite remote.
And the weather was bad, I think, right?
Yeah, I feel like July.
Or there was a storm coming.
Yeah, I feel like there was a storm. It's obviously been a while now since we've done this. Let me just have a look at our blog. Hold on. Yeah, so they went golfing. It says the group was drinking. Something was said that upset Chance to the point where he called his wife up and requested to go home. Yeah, the rain. It was raining. It was heavy and cold, and there was an added danger of lightning and flooding, and there was tornadoes in some areas. So yeah, definitely not great weather to be out in kind of the wilderness.
So it seems likely that he had kind of a misadventure, I guess you would call it.
Yeah, it must be frustrating for the family. It's now been over 6 years and he was only 3 miles away. I know there's only a certain amount of area you can pick, and obviously the 3 mile radius, the search area would be enormous, but it must be frustrating to know he was so close and they had to wait 6 years to probably find him.
Yeah. Before we get into the episode, we have a quick word from our sponsor, Mood. You guys know me, I get everything delivered. I get groceries delivered. I'm always shopping online. I'm never trying to leave the house if I don't have to. I'm tired. Did you know that there's an online cannabis company that ships federally legal THC right to your door? And they found a way to combine THC with carefully selected functional ingredients to target nearly every mood and health concern you can think of. I love it because when I'm just trying to relax, it's a great way to do so. I'm talking about mood.com's incredible line of functional gummies, and you can get 20% off your first order at mood.com with promo code TCS. For one-size-fits-all supplements that only get you high, Mood's functional gummies are optimized to kick in as little as 15 minutes and take you to the mood you're looking for. Whether that's Mind Magic gummies for deep work and creativity, PMS support to ease cramps and balance mood swings, or their sexual euphoria gummies to help you feel ready for action and turn every touch into a full body experience.
Listen, you can find gummies to just get you high pretty much anywhere these days, but Mood's functional gummies combine premium federally legal THC with targeted botanicals to help you get into the perfect mood, usually in as little as 15 minutes. And everything ships discreetly right to your door. No dispensary lines, no awkward conversations, just better days and nights delivered to your doorstep. Best of all, not only is every Mood product backed by a 100-day satisfaction guarantee, but as we mentioned, listeners get 20% off their first order with code TCS. So head to mood.com, find the functional gummy that matches exactly what you're looking for, and let Mood help you discover your perfect mood. And don't forget to use promo code TCS when you check out to save 20% on your first order.
All right, so today we are going to be talking about a cyber stalking case. We were inspired by the Unknown Number documentary on Netflix that we didn't really talk too much about because we were pre-recording, but the one where
Kendra.
Spoiler alert, even though it's all over the internet, where it was the mom the whole time, Kendra, just a crazy
Catfishing her
story.
own daughter, yeah.
Yeah, telling her daughter to kill herself and to never wear leggings again because she's a flat ass bitch or something ridiculous. Like,
Wow.
good documentary. If you haven't watched it, would recommend.
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about a different one that is similar in the terms of stalking, cyber stalking, texting. And it was suggested to us by our Patreon subscriber, Sabrina. So thank you for suggesting it, because I actually hadn't heard about this one before. It's the case of Cari Farver. And this case has also been featured on a Netflix documentary called Lover, Stalker, Killer. I watched it today. It's a good documentary. I'd recommend
It's quite
that
short.
one
Is
as
it only
well.
one episode? Like an hour?
Yeah, it's an hour and a
something like that?
half.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
remember
just
when
it's not a series.
I have a friend and we kind of trade Netflix recommendations and we're both into crime. And so I messaged her and I'm like, have you seen this? Because I watched it a few months ago and I'm like, have you seen this? And I'm like, oh my God, that did not go where I was thinking it was going to go. I was like, what? It's a good one. It's yeah, I'd definitely check it out if you haven't. But we also thought too, there are so many now, I guess increasingly an amount of cyber stalking cases with technology and things like that. So this might even be kind of a theme or a series that we do. And occasionally we'll do another episode. We definitely want to cover the Kendra case. And there are many, many similar cases that we can look into.
Yeah.
She was a great mother. She was a great daughter. It was odd that she just up and disappeared.
At the same time, she's still sending messages to her ex.
My phone was blowing up.
This is a bizarre and twisted case of a fatal attraction. It's about an obsessive woman that would stop at nothing to get what she wanted.
The digital forensics was the key to this case. It was the piece of this puzzle that needed to be told.
But the issue was there murder? It was a theory, and you can't convict on a theory.
All right, so some background. Cari Lee Farver was born on November 30th, 1974. We don't know too much about her background, but by 2012, she was 37 years old, and she had a son that was in high school. She worked as a computer programmer in Omaha, Nebraska, and she and her son Max were living in Macedonia, Iowa, which is around an hour away from her workplace. Long commute. Cari's mother, Nancy Rainey, has said that Cari was diagnosed with depression in her late 20s and that she was eventually diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Her mom said she'd been seeing therapists and was on medication. There was a couple of times where she would stop taking the medication because she said, "Mom, I just feel like I'm numb." By 2012, Nancy said Cari was in a good place in her life and with her mental health. Her friend Amy Long said, "You noticed Cari when she walked into a room. She had a laugh, she had a smile, she lit up a room. You couldn't help but notice her. You were drawn to her." Friends and family have said that Cari was vivacious and warm. In 2012, Cari took her Ford Explorer into an auto repair shop in Omaha where she met Dave Kroupa, who was the manager. He had recently moved to the area and he had just been separated from his long-term partner with whom he had 2 children. Dave spoke about trying to get back into the dating scene. He said, I didn't know how to venture back into the dating pool. I felt pretty rusty, so internet dating was the way to go. The first woman that Dave met was Elizabeth Golyar, and she went by the name Liz. He said, I thought Liz was very pretty. I was attracted to her right away, so we set up a date. Liz told Dave that she was a single mother with 2 children who were around the same age as his children. They went on a few dates and they became intimate. Dave apparently told Liz that he was enjoying their time together, but he also wanted to continue seeing other women and that he didn't want anything serious, basically. So then Dave met Cari 6 months after he met Liz. Dave said that Cari was an extremely attractive woman. He said, when we looked at each other, there was a little spark, and he talked about how she came to the shop to have her car repaired. He said, she's showing me something inside the vehicle, and we're standing there, and we're very close, and there was some tension. The 2 went out on a date, and Dave invited Cari back to his apartment. When they got there, Cari said that she was just looking for fun and didn't want anything serious. He said, I felt like I hit a jackpot with that. So while Cari was at his apartment, according to the documentary, Liz then texted Dave saying that, she was there and outside and that she needed to get some of her stuff from the apartment. So that left Dave in an awkward position of having to have Cari and Liz cross paths. So they only saw each other for like a couple seconds, but that would end up being all that it took. So Jen Carpenter, the host of the So Dead podcast, which followed the case, said it was just a brief encounter, maybe 10 seconds or less, but this encounter would go on to have lasting ramifications for all 3 of them. As we mentioned, Cari's workplace was around an hour from her home. When she was placed on a big work project, Dave offered to let her stay with him as his house was actually closer to her job. So on the morning of November 13th, 2012, Dave got ready for work. He kissed Cari as he left and told her that he would see her later. A few hours later, Dave got a strange text from Cari, and she was talking about wanting to move in together. He said this was very left field because they had already discussed that wasn't happening and how that everything was just supposed to be casual. Dave wrote back and said that he wasn't interested in that, and Cari responded almost right away, saying, fine, I hate you. I'm dating someone else. I don't want to see you anymore. Go away. Dave said there was lots of profanity. I didn't know what to think. I was blown away. When Dave got home that night, Cari was gone. After a few days, his phone started blowing up with texts from her, saying things like, I hate you, you've ruined my life, you're a terrible person. David said, I don't need this, I dodged a bullet.
It's so strange because it does sound like, obviously we only know his side of the story, but it does sound like they were on the same page about wanting just a casual thing, a bit of fun, nothing too serious. And then imagine just all of a sudden
Quick
was
turnaround.
thinking, that she's like turned around and be like, nope, I want to move in, blah, blah, blah. You'd be like, wow, what is going on? This is very strange.
Yeah. Reminds me of parts of this remind me of Baby Reindeer as well.
Mm.
Did you ever watch that?
No, I don't think I ever did watch it in the end.
Oh my God, you have to. It's good. It's very dark, but it's good. Around this time, Nancy, who is Cari's mother, started getting strange texts from her daughter as well. Cari told Nancy that she had taken a job in Kansas. Nancy said this totally threw me. Nancy said that the texts were often mean and aggressive, saying that I wasn't a good mother and that I was controlling. She noticed that often the text would be full of grammatical and punctuation errors, as well as spelling mistakes, which she said was out of character for her daughter because she was a stickler for punctuation and spelling. Nancy tried to call Cari many times, but was never able to actually get a hold of her. Finally, when Cari didn't show up for her half-brother's wedding, Nancy reported her missing. Nancy told authorities about Cari's bipolar disorder and that she was on medication. And after that, Nancy said the authorities just didn't take the situation seriously. An author who wrote a book called A Tangled Web about the case said, the police jumped on that and said, well, this kind of thing happens all the time. When somebody who's bipolar stops taking their meds, sometimes they can start some really erratic behavior, which is true, but not a reason to write off a missing person.
I feel like we hear it quite a lot when someone either suffers from mental health issues or addiction, that the police are like, well, basically, too bad, so sad. That's their own problem. We can't really do much about it.
Yeah. Which is sad because those are the people who are more
the most vulnerable
too.
People.
Cari also missed more family events, including her son's 15th birthday, Thanksgiving, and the funeral of her father, which are all pretty big events that you'd think that she wouldn't want to miss.
You know what? Maybe Thanksgiving, you'd be like, oh, whatever. But her son's birthday and the funeral of her father is unbelievable.
Dave kept getting messages on both text and email from Cari, hundreds of them. And they showed them on the show, just all of them. It was a lot a lot. So like the messages would say things like, I will do what I can to make you suffer. Another said, we belong together, things like that. Just
Crazy,
constantly.
creepy, yeah.
Along with the messages, Dave said that he was being stalked. He said, on one specific occasion, I was sitting in my lazy boy with my feet up watching TV, trying to relax, and it's nighttime, and I get a text saying, I see you. You're sitting in your chair with your feet propped up wearing a blue shirt. And those things were true, he said. Scary. I would freak the fuck out if that happened to me. Like, but also, like, get some curtains, some blinds. Dave, please.
Especially if you're being stalked, wouldn't you be trying to
Maybe
be
that
a
was
little
the
bit
first
private?
incident.
Yeah.
Dave said most of the messages he received focused on Liz. Liz told him that she was also receiving harassing texts and emails. She called him one day and said that her home had been vandalized. Dave said, upon pulling into the garage, she found that someone had written "whore from Dave" on the inside with spray paint. Liz reported this incident to police in late November 2012. So Dave and Liz continued to see each other during this phase. Sometimes they would both be harassed at the same time. He said, it was actually extremely common for us to be hanging out on the couch, watching TV or something, and both of our phones would start blowing up with text messages and emails from Cari. Cari's son Max also received text messages. His mother told him that she was going to Kansas and would be coming to get him, but she never showed up. I feel so bad for the kid too.
Yeah, like he was 14 obviously when it happened. He had his 15th birthday. It would have been confusing. Like you'd be like, what is
And then
going
her
on?
saying she's coming to get you and never showing up. Like,
yeah.
In January 2013, Dave noticed that Cari's vehicle was parked in a nearby parking lot. He took a photo of it and sent it to Omaha police. Police searched the vehicle and found a single fingerprint on a mint container. The print didn't match Cari's or anyone else's in the national database. Meanwhile, tips about Cari's whereabouts were coming in. One man called Nancy to say that he had seen Cari at a homeless shelter and that she wanted her mother to go pick her up. Nancy said, I was shaking. I thought, oh my God, we're going to bring her home. She's going to be okay. But when Nancy got to the shelter, it was discovered that Cari had never been there. She said, it was such a letdown. I was just devastated. I get this raising in my hopes and then it's dashed again. I knew somebody was playing games here. 6 months after his mother disappeared, Max messaged her on Facebook. She messaged back, hey, little man, how are you? He asked her to answer 3 questions to prove that it was really her. What his middle name was, what the name of their first dog was, and what his best friend's name was. And she, of course, never responded to the message. Very smart of him. Cari kept up the harassment of Dave and Liz. She sent an email to Dave where she threatened to kill Liz and included a photo of a woman tied up in a vehicle. Cari also sent Dave a link to a fake obituary for Liz. Crazy.
Yeah.
In August 2013, Liz's house caught on fire. Her pets, 2 dogs, a cat, and a snake all perished in the fire. Fire investigators said that they suspected arson, and Liz said that she believed Cari had started the fire. The auto shop where Dave worked was vandalized. In January 2014, Dave was with a woman in his apartment when his cell phone was blasted with messages. They also heard someone trying to open the front door, and a brick was thrown through a window of his home that night.
So that was January 2014. Cari, like, apparently went crazy in, like, November 2012. So this is a long time. Like, this is over a year of this harassment, this
and the police are
stalking.
just like, doo-doo-doo.
Yeah. Like, I can't even imagine. Like, I know sometimes when people break up, like, people go, you know, a bit wild for a little bit. But this is over
Like a
a
month.
year. Yeah. Like, eventually, generally, people move on. But over a year of this behavior. Like, a year later, someone's throwing a brick through his window. It's crazy.
In the documentary, just fresh in my mind because I just watched it. Like at this point, the police they just kept being like, we got to find Cari and we just can't find her. It's like 2 years. They're still like, we can't find her anywhere. I'm like, oh my God, you guys are the worst police ever.
So the mother of Dave's children also received threatening messages from Cari. Dave said that he became so worried for his safety, he purchased a gun. He would later, though, realize the gun was missing and he reported that to police. So the harassment continued for years and years. By the spring of 2015, no one had seen Cari for over 2.5 years, but the messages kept coming. There were 2 detectives from the Sheriff's Office in Council Bluffs, Iowa, named Detective Ryan Davis and Detective Jim Doty. They'd never worked on the case, but they'd heard about it in the office, and they decided that they wanted to work on it and approach the case from different angles. Detective Avis said, Jim's going to work on it like she's dead, and I'm going to work on it like she's alive, as in terms of Cari. I'm going to try and prove every which way I can that Cari is still out there, and Jim is going to try and prove every which way that she is not. Detective Avis became alarmed when it was discovered that there had been no activity on Cari's bank accounts. Again, 2015, did they not look into this prior to any of this? If no one's been able to actually cite her, why are they not looking at her bank records first?
It seems like they literally did nothing.
Yeah. Again, and I feel like it probably does come down to the fact that she did have a history of mental illness, and they're like, well, she must just be off, doing her own thing.
Yeah.
Detective Avis said it's not normal for adults to just up and leave and literally spend no money. No one's seen them. No one's heard their voice. It just didn't make sense. She had a good income, a good house. I had come to the conclusion that I could not prove she was actually alive. Detective Doty has said that Liz was one of the people who actually stood out to him. She'd never been involved in Cari's life until Cari went missing. He said all of a sudden she's this focus of harassment. Her name was all over the reports. So to me, there was something with Liz. She definitely was a person of interest. So all of the harassment was sent electronically. So the detectives enlisted a digital forensics expert to help. Dave and Liz both agreed to have their phone data examined. This was the beginning of discovery in the case. The forensics expert was Anthony Carver. I have seen there's a 2020 episode about this as well, and he features in that. He said, we knew these messages didn't seem to really be coming from Cari. Cari, or the imposter who was pretending to be Cari, sent Dave around 15,000 emails over a 3-year span. It might have been upwards of 25,000 or 50,000 texts in all. That is wild. So
crazy. Like, how do you, I guess when you're missing, you have all the time in the world.
Yeah. So that is, I don't even know. So if 15,000 emails over 3 years, that is 1,666 emails a year, or around 4 to 5 per day. That's insane.
How do you have the creativity to keep saying something new?
I know. He went on to say, whoever was pretending to be Cari got more and more sophisticated in what they were doing to try and hide their IP address, to try and hide their real identity. Investigators also found a photo of Cari's vehicle in Liz's phone data. This had been taken a month before the car had been recovered by police. Detective Doty said somehow Liz knew where Cari's vehicle was even before law enforcement did. Another thing we found on the phone download was that there were 6 calls that were made to Cari's residence. It was using the *67 prefix to disguise the number, so Liz was calling Cari 6 times. This didn't make sense to us because she said she'd only met Cari the one time for a few seconds passing in the hallway. The photo of the tied-up woman that we mentioned that had been originally sent to Dave was determined to have been taken by Liz's phone. Investigators also discovered a video showing someone walking outside Dave's apartment. It had been uploaded to YouTube under Cari's name, but it had come from an IP address registered to Liz's house. Nancy, Cari's mother, spoke to investigators and said that in 2012, Cari had sent her a text saying that she'd sold her furniture. She asked Nancy to let the buyer into the house to collect it, and Cari sent Nancy a photo of the check for the furniture, and it had been signed by Shayna Golyar. So her name is Shayna Elizabeth Golyar. She went by Elizabeth Liz. Detective Doty said, we knew Liz Golyar's real name was Shayna. It was yet another connection between these two women who were apparently strangers and had no connection to each other besides that few seconds meeting. He went on to say, granted, that didn't give us any answers on what had happened to Cari, but we knew that Liz knew more than she was telling us. There was a fingerprint that was found on the mint container in Cari's car, and that was determined to belong to Liz. In December 2015, Liz went to the sheriff's office. She told detectives that she wanted to file a harassment of complaint against the mother of Dave's children. That woman's name is Amy Flora. Liz then said she thought it was Amy who'd been sending her the messages this whole time, not Cari. So I feel like this is probably happening because Liz knew that the heat was getting placed on her. She needed someone else who was actually real and legit that she could blame for all of this. So she turned the story and tried to say it was Dave's ex, the mother of his children.
Yeah.
She also told authorities that she believed Amy had Dave's missing gun. Detective Avis said she realized that she probably shouldn't know any details about the gun, and then any further questions that I asked her about the gun, she was very vague. Investigators asked if Liz would consent for her phone data to be examined, and she did. The following day, Liz called 911 and said that she had been shot in the leg, and she thought the shooter may have been Amy Flora. This story is just so wild. I just like
It really is.
like that's why in the documentary I'm like, what is going on here?
Mm-hmm.
December 5th, 2015, Council Bluffs, Iowa. At 6:30 p.m., dispatchers in this quiet Omaha suburb receive a harrowing call.
911, what's the address of your emergency?
I've been shot in the leg.
The caller is 40-year-old Liz Golyar.
Liz reported being shot in a lake north of Council Bluffs in a park.
Where are you in the park, ma'am?
I'm in one of the parking lots on the left-hand side. I have a little red Toyota and I'm laying next to it.
According to Liz, she was walking on a trail when the attack occurred.
Okay. Is the assailant still nearby?
I don't think so. I took off running.
Okay.
As first responders race to the scene, the dispatcher tries to gather as much information from Liz as she can.
How many people were there?
Oh, I don't know. I only heard one.
Do you know if it was male or female?
Female.
Is there more than one wound?
I think it was one. They shot off a couple of shots. They only hit me with one, I think. Oh, my pure leg is soaked with blood. Oh, Jesus.
By the time emergency responders arrive, Liz is losing consciousness. As Liz is rushed to the hospital, sheriff's officers secure the park and begin the search for the shooter.
Omaha police helicopter makes it up there and kind of scans the area.
This shooting is just the latest in a long line of bizarre and deadly events that started more than 3 years earlier.
Detective Avis said, I found it highly suspicious that the day before she needed to tell me that Dave's gun had been stolen, and less than 24 hours later, she's shot. It was pretty quickly determined that most likely Liz had shot herself. Amy was cleared of any involvement on that night. So, basically she obviously had an alibi. They were able to corroborate her movements, and she was cleared of being involved at all on the very same night that Liz was shot. When police investigated Liz's phone contents, they discovered that she had registered upwards of 20 or 30 fake email addresses, all of which had some variation of Carrie's name. And it was all stupid things too. Like, I'm just paraphrasing, but like, Carrie loves Dave. Dave loves Carrie at gmail.com. Like stupid things like that. Just,
Dave and Carrie forever.
I'm pretty sure one was like Dave's girl, something like, along those lines.
So embarrassing.
They also found that Liz had an app which allowed her to schedule messages to be sent at later dates and times. And this could explain how both Dave and Liz were being harassed at the same time when they were together. So obviously you would think if you're with someone and you're both getting these messages, it must be someone external, but she maybe had set it up. So she had an app to schedule messages to be sent later.
She just thought of everything.
She had enough time over however many years she was doing it for. The forensics expert Anthony said she was able to send messages pretending to be Carrie, and they would arrive while she was sitting on the couch next to Dave. From Dave's point of view, Liz couldn't have sent it because she was sitting next to him the whole time. This is mind-blowing. They estimated that Liz must have spent around 40 to 50 hours per week impersonating Carrie.
Full-time job.
Full-time job, years and years and years.
Who's taking care of her kids? Does she have a job? What is she doing?
It's wild.
Deputy Tony Cava is actually on a mission to prove Liz is the culprit.
He has the recent download of Liz Golyar's phone and all of the messages that are supposedly been sent from Cari Farver.
Liz signed up for upwards of 20 or 30 fake addresses that say they're Cari Farver, and they're different variations on Cari's name or even her real email address. Every impersonated message, every text message, there's always a connection back to an account that she has, to a device that she has, or to her house.
Cava also discovered that part of her ruse, Liz was using an app which actually allowed her to send messages and receive them at a later time.
She was able to send messages pretending to be Cari, and they would arrive while she was sitting on the couch next to Dave. From Dave's point of view, Liz couldn't have sent it because she was sitting next to him the whole time. It gave a perfect alibi to Liz.
So police came up with a plan. They kind of decided to trick Liz, and they told her that they believed Amy had shot her. And they said they needed her help to see if they could get Amy to incriminate herself. So obviously this worked. Liz saw this as an opportunity. She started to run with it. She immediately created fake emails from Amy.
It's funny because the police doing this too, it's very like crime drama TV show.
Yeah,
like,
it is crazy. It is just like an unbelievable cheesy TV show that isn't real, but
it works.
It was. Detective Doty said, we started receiving messages that she said were from Amy, where Amy confesses to shooting Liz at the park. The detectives continued to press Liz to ask Amy for details about Cari's death. They knew, though, they were talking to Liz and not to Amy. They said that she forwarded an email to them that had supposedly come from Amy, saying that she had stabbed Cari 3 to 4 times and stuffed her body into a garbage bag. Detective Doty said the details were bone-chilling because they were graphic. Liz started to become upset because Amy had not been arrested. So I'm guessing she's thinking like, here's all this information. Why aren't you arresting her? Clearly this is the truth. The detectives told her they needed specific information that only the killer would know before they could make an arrest. Within hours, they said more confession emails from Amy appeared. These emails included the information that Cari had been stabbed to death in her own car. Detective Doty said, these emails gave us Cari's vehicle as a crime scene. What we wanted to do was go back and look at the vehicle to determine if that crime happened there. Again, this is like, why did they not do this earlier? They searched Cari's car again, and they removed the fabric from the passenger seat, and they found her blood stained on it. So there's a photo, which I'll put on the blog, of the blood. It's very obviously blood. It's quite a large stain. I can't believe they didn't do this to start, but I guess they just thought it was a missing persons case at one point.
I do also wonder like what happened, because you never really find out, or it never goes into it, of like how did she get to Cari? Why was Cari in the passenger seat of her car? Like what happened?
So Liz, and I guess because Liz has probably never really spilled the beans. Like I don't think she, they've just gone off the forensic evidence and kind of had to deduce what's happened. Liz was confronted with all of the evidence that had been gathered against her. She denied being involved, and she also said that she never had internet service, which is wild. That's like an easy thing to prove, but anyway. Police searched her apartment and found some of Cari's belongings, including a camera and a camcorder. On the camcorder, they found a video of Cari talking about how someone had vandalized her car. It was time-stamped 2 days before she disappeared. On December 22nd, 2016, more than 4 years after Cari disappeared, Liz was arrested and charged with her first-degree murder. The Douglas County attorney, Brenda Beadle, who prosecuted the case, said this was by far the most difficult case I've ever tried. She said most homicides are dark. This one was bizarre to the point where it would take some convincing to make somebody believe that it actually happened. There's no way that someone would let their dog die in a fire that they started. There's no way that someone would shoot themselves in the femur. So I agree. Like, what kind of sick, twisted person is going to kill all their animals, shoot themselves just to kind of keep this story going? But I guess someone who would do this for over 3 years and spend 50 hours a week is exactly that type of person.
Mm-hmm.
Liz's attorney decided to waive a jury trial in favor of a bench trial, and this meant that a judge would decide the case. The attorney said not only was there no body, there was no crime scene, there was no murder weapon, there was no proof that Cari was even dead. We waived the jury trial to move it up so I could try this case hopefully before they'd find a body. The trial was scheduled to start in 2017. A few months before this, Dave remembered that he had an old tablet in storage and he gave it to the police. Investigators discovered on that a micro SD memory card that had been in Liz's phone around the time of the murder. The SD card had thousands of deleted images on it, all of which were able to be recovered.
Which is crazy. Like, why is the SD card of her phone in his tablet?
In his tablet.
Like, what are the chances?
Yeah, I guess this is back in 2012 where, like, memory cards were maybe more of a thing. I don't know. But, yeah, I agree. Like, imagine if he didn't find that. This seems to have been a big part in the case. And he just suddenly remembered that he had this tablet, thankfully. The forensics expert Anthony said, I came to a photo that no one had seen before. I wasn't sure what I was looking at first, but it turned out to be a human foot with a tattoo. The tattoo was of the Chinese symbol for the word mother, and it was the same tattoo that Cari had on her foot. Anthony said it was shocking. It made me realize that Liz killed Cari and she's taking photos of her body. In 2017, Judge Timothy Burns found Liz guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced her to life in prison. During his ruling, Judge Burns said Cari Farver did not voluntarily disappear and drop off the face of the earth. Very sadly, she was murdered. So Cari's remains have never been found, which is unbelievable to me. I feel like Liz really hasn't given anything away. I don't know.
Yeah. It is crazy because for a single woman like alone to do all that and kill her and attack her, and then what did she do with the body?
Yeah, like how, I guess she had years and years before anyone actually discovered it, so she maybe had moved it. I don't know. She had time to get rid of it anyway. Nancy has said that she wants to remember her daughter as the fun-loving, talented, smart woman that she was. Nancy says, Cari was only 37 when she died. If I could talk to her right now, I'd say, I love you. I'm so glad that you are in my life. You have a beautiful son who's got a wonderful life coming, and I miss you terribly. So the Netflix documentary came out last year. Liz did try and appeal her conviction in 2018. She was unsuccessful. She's serving her sentence at the Nebraska Correctional Center for Women. She maintains her innocence, and she believes that Cari's real killer remains at large. I don't know. I guess, there's obviously some type of mental illness at play here. For someone to be able to keep this up for years and years, maybe she does believe that she is innocent. I don't know. But either way, I'm very, very glad that she was sentenced to life in prison. This is an absolutely horrific case. It just shows you, even like we've been covering the case recently about Kata Scott, and she was a young woman who was murdered by this guy who stalked her, most likely. We don't quite know how they met, but it just shows, goes to show you that it just takes one thing to tip someone over the edge sometimes, and that can change the whole course of a lot of lives in this case.
Yeah, it's crazy. Dave just thought he was going on a date.
Yeah, and he was, Liz seemed like she was fun, and this was all happening to poor Liz as well. Like, she obviously was very, very manipulative and was able to keep this ruse up for years and years. It's mind-blowing.
She killed her own pets.
Yeah. And I feel like the documentary does a good job because you don't, like, it's a shock at the end when you find out it was Liz. You're like, wow, I would never have expected that.
I know, I already knew, so.
Yeah. I do recommend checking that out. There's a 2020 episode too that will link. Obviously now it did happen a little while ago. Like, we're now talking about 13 years ago since Cari was murdered. So there isn't much information. Liz is obviously still saying she's innocent, and we may never know what happened to Cari exactly or where her remains were disposed.
It's also just crazy to me that, like, Liz put in all this effort, was seemingly smart enough at some point to be able to cover up her IP address, like put all this effort into it, schedule text so that it didn't seem like it was her. But then she thinks she's so smart. The investigators say jump and she says how high. They're like, we need Amy to confess this. And she immediately is typing up an email and sending it to them.
I guess
they trapped you idiot.
I guess she got so comfortable thinking, well, I've gotten away with it. They're obviously believing me. Like, she had no reason to think she was under suspicion. She probably would have thought, I've been cooperative. I've given them my phone data. They think Amy did it now. So, I'm in the clear. I need to.
Like, she probably thought she was just killing it. And they're like, this idiot.
And it also just shows that there must have been some level of delusion there to think that she could really fool all these investigators who, when they properly started looking into it, like, don't get me wrong, she did fool people for a very long time. But once
she got lucky, they were lazy.
Yeah, once they started the proper investigation, she still thought that she could get away with it. I would love to know, if she has a mental health diagnosis. Not that I've ever read that she does, but I would be interested to know more about her background. But it seems like she's pretty tight-lipped. I haven't seen any interviews or anything like that she's really done, especially recently. So, yeah, it's
funny because
interesting study.
On the documentary, there was like a list of all the different IP addresses, and some of them were like the VPNs and stuff, but there was like a bunch that were just like McDonald's Wi-Fi. So she's just like in a McDonald's fucking sending off these texts and emails of like, you nasty bitch, you're gonna die. Like, eating a Big Mac.
Insane. I just don't even know how you would even have 50 hours a week. Like, she obviously probably had to work at some point. I don't know.
When did she sleep?
Yeah, but I guess if you're that manic and that obsessed, that would be your,
To be fair, a lot of them were only like one line.
Yeah.
But still ridiculous.
And even back then, when you think 2012, as we mentioned, 13 years ago, there was way less apps that were available in terms of scheduling. So for her to have sought all
I
of
never
this
heard
out,
of VPN back then.
yeah, like I probably wouldn't have either back then. I don't know, but yeah.
So that's really it for this story. There's not a ton to discuss because it's been covered and we had some commentary through it. Just crazy, ridiculous, wild case. Like so strange. It really does seem like a crime drama. There's so many twists and turns. It's scary to think that you could meet someone who is willing to put all this effort into ruin your life for really no good reason.
One thing I do find especially sad about this case is that a son lost his mother, a family lost their daughter in terms of Cari, but it's been kind of overshadowed just because of Liz's insaneness and craziness. Like that is the focus of this case, and that's like, you know, the focus of the Netflix documentary too, because it's
well, for a long time,
unbelievable.
That kid and mom thought that she was just out abandoning them, which is also sad.
And obviously we know so little about what actually happened to Cari. They've never found her body. So it is Liz's behavior that is the main focus of most of the reporting in this case, which would be sad for Cari's family because it lessens her memory and, you know, it painted her in a bad light for many years. Like people thought that she'd, like you said, just taken off and all of that. So
yeah, dragged her through the mud for years.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so definitely recommend the documentary on this one. It's on Netflix called Lover, Stalker, Killer. It's like an hour and a half. It's just one thing. It's not a series, but it was well done, worth checking out. But that's really it. Let us know if you guys know any other cases like this. Like we said, we'd like to do more about cases like this. If you've ever experienced a cyber stalker, would love to hear about it. That's it. So everything will be on the blog at truecrimesocietyblog.com. Make sure you're following us on Instagram because we'll post any updates on there with anything going on, like with Chance, if we hear anything else with that. My Instagram, Steph_, Olivia's TCS Olivia. If you want to see what we're up to. We also have Patreon you can check us out on if you want more content from us. We do weekly bonus episodes and all the episodes are ad-free, and you get a back catalog of all of the bonus episodes we've done, which is like 112 last time.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe it'll be 100. Yeah, anyway, soon it'll be 115.
Oh my god, my power's surging. Are you still there? What the heck?